Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. The first item on the agenda this afternoon is the appointment of a chairman for this meeting. Councillors, can I have a nomination, please?
Nominate Councillor Dave Harris.
Seconded that. Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Harris, I'll pass over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr Evans. Thank you. Good morning, all. Good morning. Welcome and announcements I have to make. I am Councillor Dave Harris. I'm Councillor for the Beerchurch Ward, and I will be, as you just heard, chairing the meeting this morning, or this afternoon. To begin with, there are a few matters of housekeeping, with the exceptions of the Democratic Services Officer advising us. Would participants all please mute their microphones unless they are invited to speak? I will ask for the item of business to be presented, and we will then proceed in accordance with the hearings procedure guidance, which will ensure that anyone who wishes to has ample opportunity to address the committee. To summarise the procedure, I will invite the licensing officer to present the report and then invite the applicant to present their case. Members of the public or their representatives who are parties to the hearing will then be invited to make their case to the subcommittee. There will be opportunity for any clarifying questions from the committee or any other party. I would, however, direct the attention of all parties to the information set in the Licensing Subcommittee Procedure Rules, which detail how the committee hearing will be conducted. I would remind those attending, as a representative of an interested party, that they are required to limit the scope of the comments to the contents of the representation that has already been made, and may not add any additional information or evidence of their own. We may take a break at 13:30, subject to the progress of the meeting. Next, I will ask my colleagues and all those present to introduce, starting from my right.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Councillor. Sorry, keep on doing that. Councillor Roger Mannion, Tiptree Ward.
Councillor Carl Powling, Mayors in Pyfleet Ward.
Matthew Evans, Democratic Services Officer.
Sarah White, Licensing Team Leader.
Rebecca Strawn, Legal Advisor.
Kalivani Jogaratnam.
Sahan Yogaratnam.
Thank you very much and welcome. Item 4 is declarations of interest. I have to ask any of the councillors present if they have a declaration of interest on the items on the agenda.
None for me.
None for me.
Thank you. Item 5, application to vary a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003 in respect of 59 to 61 High Street, Ivanow. I'll invite the licensing officer to present the report, please.
Thank you, Chairman. An application has been received to vary the premises licence at 5961 High Street. The hours of the variation are set out in section 1 of the report. One objection has been received from the Wivenhoe Society, and the details of this again are set out in the report. I'd just draw members' attention to paragraph 10.15 of the section 182 guidance in relation to the hours of trading, Chairman, which states that that stores, shops and supermarkets should normally be free to provide sales of alcohol for consumption off the premises at any times when the retail outlet is open for shopping, unless there are good reasons based on the licensing objectives for restricting those hours. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll invite the applicant to make the presentation in your case, please.
Thank you. I'm going to be speaking on behalf of my mum because of a language barrier. But we'd like to extend the times for our times that we sell alcohol from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and then 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. On a Sunday. We're open every day from 7 to 10 currently, and we sell alcohol from noon till we close the shop. So far, I think it's nearly been exactly a year since the last time we came here, and we haven't had any issues since. We keep a record of all the names of anyone underage that's asked for alcohol, but that record book is completely clear. Everyone's really respected the shop. It's been very clean. Everything is going very smoothly, and judging that, that's why we came to maybe extend those hours so we can sell alcohol. And yeah, I mean, if there were any issues that were occurring after we'd opened the shop, we probably wouldn't have considered this at all. But judging from the past year, I think we would be happy to sell alcohol maybe earlier than we usually do, purely because from a lot of the customers that come in, they've asked if we could sell earlier, and we've restricted them obviously from actually buying that. But I think it'd just be a lot easier, especially because there's a lot of elderly people in our area as well, and they'd have to constantly come back from the morning and then back to the afternoon for lunch or whatever. But yeah, I think so far everything's been going very smoothly. There hasn't really been any sort of antisocial behaviour that's stemmed from our shop specifically. My dad, who usually works at the shop pretty much every single day, he knows all the customers that come in and go out, even by name now. So if there is anyone that's like who's young or anyone that seems like they're not eligible to buy alcohol, he points them out quite easily. But again, since we've opened, no one's really come to buy alcohol at that underage. So I think so far everything's been going so well. Wiveno has taken care of us pretty well since we've opened the shop, and we've taken care of them. And yeah, we'd just like to extend those hours respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Would you like to add any?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
No, sorry. It's okay. You got my sound.
Everything's fine.
Turn the microphone on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Councillors.
Okay, yes. I think the straightforward question is, why? Why are you asking for an extension of hours?
So like I said, since the past year, everything's been going pretty well. And going from all the other places that are selling alcohol, they're selling at an earlier time as well. So I thought it would be fair for us to sell around the same time. We have a co-op, I think maybe just under a mile away, and they sell from the morning right until the afternoon. There's bars around, there's a post office right next to us, and they're also selling at an earlier time. So we thought it'd just be for us to maybe sell at an earlier time as well.
I'm just a little bit uncomfortable with the early hours. No, I mean, I like a glass of wine occasionally, but I would not think about going into an off license and buying a bottle of wine or a pint of beer or whatever at 7 o'clock in the morning. I just find that a little bit difficult. The concept I find difficult. Can you sort of elucidate on that a bit, please?
Yeah, so the reason we put 7 o'clock, well, I guess we're kind of testing our luck because we open at 7 o'clock as well. So it'd just be easiest for us to rather than telling people to kind of no, you can't buy now, it would just be easier for us to just sell at an early time whilst we open as well. Even though it has a mixed age group, there's a lot of working people there as well, and they leave quite early from the train. So it would just be easier for them to just buy their milk and bread, and if they want to have some alcohol later in the evening, they can buy it, go back home, and then go off to work, rather than coming back at 10 o'clock at night after they finish work, all tired, coming to the shop and buying it. It's purely just for convenience, nothing else really. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor.
So your normal opening hours, I assume, are going to be 7 a.m. to 11 o'clock. Is that what you're looking to do?
Currently it's 7 a.m. to 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. But I guess if we are allowed to sell alcohol at 11 p.m. as well, we'll extend that to 11 p.m.
Okay, so you're looking basically to sell during opening times of the shop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so what my mum was saying that I think because we close at 10 p.m., because we only sell alcohol up until 10 p.m. is the reason why we close at 10 p.m. as well. It's just easier to kind of, because we would like to maybe extend our hours to 11 p.m. as well for those who come in to the shop later. But obviously we have to tell them, sorry, we can't sell you alcohol because that's the time we've been given to sell them. So that's why we kind of would like to extend that later hours to 11 p.m. Regarding the early hours at 7 a.m., I know 7 a.m. is quite early. We wouldn't mind if it was even just 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. as well. Like we would just like a bit earlier than noon before people go out to work or have tea or something. Yeah, thank you.
So the only thing is, like you said, there has been anti-social behaviour about. I've seen those pictures. Are you aware of that? Are the people buying this from the shop?
Yeah, so I think these pictures, the one from Sarah, or 4th of July one, these pictures were, in the last year we came, these were the same pictures that they gave us. And we hadn't even opened the shop that time. Like we'd opened the shop about a month and a half after that hearing. So like these were pictures before that, or the summer before that. And I do realize there were antisocial behavior that happened, but we weren't open yet. The other pictures, those pictures aren't near the areas that we are from, where we are located. There is a park next to us, but again, like these pictures were taken before the shop were given to us. But yeah, I know around April time, there was a group of around 20 people, like really young people that were kind of causing a lot of trouble around the area. And at that time, my dad, like I said, he knows most of the customers that come in, they're all daily. So the new guys that were all turning up, my dad started to take notice of them. And then after we heard that there was this like very like violent group of kids that were walking around Wibbernow turned up, my dad let the locals know that they had come to the shop. They hadn't been sold any alcohol. I mean, you can take a look at the footage during that period. There was no one that was sold alcohol. And plus we do restrict the number of kids that come in to the shop. I mean, if it's like adults, family members, we do allow them to just, like if there's like 8, 9 people, they can come in at once. But if it's a lot of younger people, we restrict to like 3 or 4 people at a time, because it's difficult to like maintain the shop and also look at the cameras, make sure no one's doing anything funny. So yeah, whilst that was occurring around April time, the police came to our shop as well to check the cameras and everything, and we gave them all access to that. We were helping, because I mean, in a way, they're also putting our shop in danger as well by stealing stuff or something. So we made sure that we could help as much as we can. We let them have access to the cameras inside the shop, outside the shop, and we were just doing our best. And then I think after April, none of that really happened after that. And this summer has been very, very good. Very good few months for our business as well. Everything's been really running pretty smoothly, and everyone's been very respectful with the shop as well.
So basically, clearly you do work with the local community itself and the local council on. Okay, thank you.
So I'd also like to add, I think the last time we came here, because obviously the younger people go to the park next to our shop, or it's just behind our shop. So we have got a camera fitted facing the car park and the shop as well, which was something you guys requested from us, and we made sure we had that done. I think yesterday someone from the society or the council came to our shop as well to check the cameras or something, and we showed them that we had access to the moving vehicles that were going into the park, or anyone that was going into the park as well, because it helps our safety as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillors, for those questions. I've got a few questions of my own. The business doing well? You're making a success of it?
Yeah, the business has been doing well, and I think the majority of that is because everyone's respected the shop very nicely, and they've welcomed us as well. We were a bit hesitant because, I mean, going into Wibbernow, we weren't. It's quite a nice community of people. They like to stay within themselves. They're very, very good, a lot of people. And so we were kind of concerned how our shop might affect them, because we're selling alcohol, but everyone's loved the shop. They're really happy, especially on our side of the high street, because anyone that has to go buy groceries or whatever, they have to go all the way up the hill to the car. This just saves them so much time, and it's been going really well. Thank you.
Good, I'm pleased to hear that. antisocial behaviour that you've just talked about, I'm acutely aware of what you're saying. These are old pictures, and also there's some distance away from your shop as well. But notwithstanding that, had you thought about, this is just an open question for you, whether you thought about working with the community? You seem to be integrated with the community and working with them. Would you work with the Wivenhoe Society and the local council, for example, to assist them in their work and make sure that you're all in a better community?
100%, because like I said, Wivenhoe has accepted us really nicely. The locals have been very kind with us. We also take part in a lot of the events that happen during the summer. My dad plays cricket, so he plays with the Wivenhoe teams as well. And everyone knows us by now, and they've just been very happy with us. We are more happy to work with the Wivenhoe Society. I don't really work at the shop, so I'm not really sure what my parents are involved. Do you mind if I just ask? Yeah, no, so what my mum said was like they work, there's a church like less than maybe 100 meters away from us. They come to the shop, we give a lot of charity as well for all the charities that are going on with Wivenhoe. My dad also runs a taxi business as well, and so everyone in the society, I think they're going somewhere, so they will ask to work with my dad. So yeah, we've really engraved well with Wivenhoe, and like I said, I would love to help out with the council and the society as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I think for me, that's all the questions I had, really, unless my councillor colleagues have got any other later questions.
Sorry, yes. Thank you, Chair. I'm still just a little bit uneasy regarding the hours, the early hours in particular, and what would happen in the shop if you had a problem, if you had youth in there at any time during the day, coming in and demanding to get alcohol. You turn them down, and you say as part of your procedures that you would make sure they leave, and you've got it on camera and everything else. But we all know that some of these youths can be quite unpleasant, and they can be quite vicious. So how would you deal with violent episodes in your shop? I mean, could you, or would you have to say, okay, I'm going to shut everything down and walk away? I don't know. I mean, I try to visualize what I would do in a similar circumstances, and I think I would be worried, to put it mildly, quite honestly. And I think the alcohol is something that would exasperate the situation and encourage it.
Sorry, just to expand that question. So, is it the early hours?
Well, both ends.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, both ends. The late nights, the late hours, and the early hours. It would be difficult, I think, to be able to control any problems in your shop, and I think that would be pretty bad for you, quite honestly. It wouldn't help you at all, and I'm sure you don't want it either.
Well, I can understand the question that you're asking, especially because I'm 18 years old. I know what my friends are like. They're very, we're quite an active group, and so I get where you're coming from. I think if you're going to start an off license or some sort of shop, there is a level of confidence and guts you have to deal with if it's a young person or even someone older, because we get quite a wide range of people that turn up to the shop. So it takes quite a lot of like confidence to turn someone down, even if they're just being respectful. But for someone at a younger age, my dad, for example, he's been, ever since he's came to this country, he's been working petrol stations, convenience stores. So he has like 15, 20 years of experience. And my mum's also helped out. So we've kind of been around in this business for a while. So they've had situations where someone at a younger age has either tried to buy alcohol, steal from the shop, causing all sorts of trouble. But again, I think it's because they've seen so much of it happen. They're very confident with dealing with those situations, and they're quite calm people as well. And they don't like fluff around it. And I mean, my mum has 3 kids around. We're Sri Lankan. We have big families, so I mean, looking after kids and just taking care of them is a big role. And I think that's one thing my mum has also considered whilst looking after the shop. When there are kids that turn up or are trying to do something, trying to cause trouble, she does advise them and tell them that I can see you in the cameras, you're trying to do something in our shop. I'm just recommending you that if you do this somewhere else where it could cause a lot of trouble, and then you might end up even in jail or something later on in your life. So they're very confident in the way they deal with these situations, which is why we even went on to open the shop in Wivenhoe. And like I said, since the year we've opened, we've had no trouble at all. Wivenhoe has been so kind with us. And so I think it's purely just a fact of confidence in dealing with those situations.
Okay, well before I bring the licensed officer in about the police, I'll just help Councillor Manning about, the question on the back of that is that you're required to keep a log of refusals. Could you just explain to Councillor Manning how many refusals you've had in a year, because you're supposed to record everyone in a book, haven't you?
Yeah, so we have the book behind the till of anyone who's come to buy alcohol and they're underage, because we check everyone's ID. Even if they're like a day older than 30, we still check their ID. And so we make sure everyone's ID is checked before we sell alcohol. Since we've opened, we've never had anyone underage ask us alcohol, if that's alcohol, vapes, cigarettes, anything like that. So we haven't had anything. So that record book is just a new empty book currently, and hopefully it stays like that until we close the shop. But yeah, I think the reason we even asked for this extension was because from the year we've opened, everything's just been very clean. Thank you.
Good, thank you for that. And could I ask the licensing officer about the police report? Have they responded, or have they got any concerns about this, please?
Thank you, Chairman. No, the police have no concerns about this premises. There are no objections.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Chair, if I may, I'd just like to remind the subcommittee, and I'm very, very grateful to your comprehensive response, that we are making this decision today based on the evidence before you, and then applying the council's policy, so presumptions shouldn't be made, as it may happen and may not. Thank you.
Thank you. No further questions?
No further questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Your chance to summarise now, sum up, say any final statement you wish before we make a decision.
Yeah, so we would like to happily continue with what we requested from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. However, I know if it is causing concerns, we would be still happy to maybe not start at 7 a.m., but maybe even 9 a.m., just a few hours, maybe before noon. But again, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. is what we would like. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well said. Well done. And I wish your business well. So we'll now exclude the public. We'll now have a adjournment. And we will retire elsewhere to another room, and we'll come back when we've made a decision. Thank you very much, members. Reconvene the meeting. The decision the committee has made is following careful deliberations. The licensing subcommittee has reached the decision to grant the application to vary the premises licence in respect of premises located at 59 to 61 High Street, Wivenhoe, CO79AZ, on the terms applied for. In reaching its decision, the subcommittee has carefully considered the information which has been placed before it as part of the application, including the representation which have been made by the Wivenhoe Society in writing. The subcommittee noted the concerns that have been raised with regard to alcohol-related antisocial behaviour which had occurred in the area, but accepted there was no evidence that this behaviour could be attributed to your premises, which have been the subject of any and not been the subject of any complaints since it opened, as you declared. The subcommittee was assured by the steps which the premises licence holder had taken to uphold the licensing objectives, including the installation of CCTV cameras and the maintenance of a log of any attempted purchase of age-restricted products. The subcommittee paid particular attention to the statutory guidance published in accordance with Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, which indicated that shops, stores and supermarkets should normally be free to provide sales of alcohol for consumption off the premises at any time when the retail outlet is open for shopping, unless there are good reasons based on the licence and objections for restricting those hours. That's the statement. I wish you very well. The committee wishes you very well for the future with your business, and we do encourage you to work within the community as you've already said you will try to do. We wish you well for the future in your business. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Got to read a statement to exclude the public. In accordance with Section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, we must exclude the public, including the press, from the meeting, so that any items containing exempt information, for example, confidential, personal, financial or legal advice in Part B of this agenda printed on yellow papers can be decided. Exempt information is defined in Section 100(1) and Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. The meeting is therefore